Oh, man, we're live. I just kicked the table.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. The internet is watching. They're not. We're doing this earlier than we said we would, but that's okay.
What is this exactly?
This is our video Q&A. We don't have the overlay graphics. This is bare bones, Dan and Ty. We'll be doing these over the off-season intermittently, I would say.
I don't see why we wouldn't.
There's so much time to hear our own voices. So
Right. Too much time.
As you can see, we're on Radio Row. What's SiriusXM not here, or at least not at their booth?
They were here all day yesterday.
Yeah. Ty challenged unsuccessfully. That's not true. Ty was challenged. I guess
I was challenged to challenge.
To challenge Eddie George at push-ups. Did not work out.
By the way, interesting side note.
Yeah.
I just ran upstairs to the media hospitality room to grab some tea because of the voice. Eddie George is up there. Give me the stink eye.
It's going to happen.
I haven't told Ryan this yet.
He's just training.
I'm just saying.
All right. So we've got questions and answers, hopefully. It's a quick thing, but, listen, various mediums. We're here doing shows. Obviously, if you haven't listened yet, please do check out. We've had Stephen Godfrey, Bruce Feldman, Andy Staples, Stu Mandel, Davy Jones.
Yep.
Who else did we have yesterday? Somebody else. Oh, we had Andy.
We had Andy Staples. We're going to have Ralph Russo.
Yep. Nicole Auerbach's going to come by.
So we've got a whole host of people lined up here.
Yeah.
This video show, though, is a way to pay homage to those of you who wrote in to solidverbal@gmail.com or to our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Got a whole list of questions here. Looks like there's about 10, 12.
Can we show them the banner that we're sitting in front of?
I don't know how we would.
Have you posted a picture of the banner?
I have not.
Oh, we should post a picture of this banner.
You might have posted
You can see the top of the It's the same logo that's the podcast logo. But
yep.
It's pretty sweet, guys. Like these idiots at SiriusXM think that they're so cool with their big old backgrounds.
Yeah.
Not to look. People that ask about our audio equipment, this is real-time audio levels.
You're seeing lights.
Oh my God, this is so meta.
These are real lights.
Luke. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm done with that.
Questions.
Yeah, let's start with some Q&As about both Oregon, Ohio State, and their national championship matchup Monday night, and just college football questions in general.
All right, I'll start out with Paulo, who wrote in. He says, which team would hurt more from losing their quarterback during the game? Mariota being out, or having to go to your fourth string?
So it might be Jalen Marshall, right?
I was going to say,
do everything kind of guy.
Let's pump the brakes a little bit here.
Yeah.
Ohio State's already playing with house money.
Yes, they are.
They're playing with house money that they've gotten this kind of play out of a third string quarterback.
Yep.
To tempt fate and say, he might get hurt too, to me, that would obviously be the death blow, because it has to have been an incredible effort on the coaching front to get Cardale Jones to a point where you feel he's ready.
Right.
To take all that out of the equation, the answer is clearly Ohio State. That said, and we talked about this in one of our shows earlier.
Yeah.
Oregon's backup situation, obviously a step down from Marcus Mariota. He's healthier.
More experienced at playing quarterback.
But an obvious step down from your Heisman Trophy winner.
Yes, anybody would be. So, yes, I would say Ohio State, just because it would limit so much of what they're trying to do. Jalen Marshall, obviously a terrific athlete if he is, in fact, the fourth option for Ohio State. But we know Ohio State can win running and playing defense. So I would not pick Ohio State if Cardale Jones was to go out in the first half.
No,
that would be a very disappointing way to lose and or win the game. You want the team at full strength. Next question.
Yes, we go to Tim. He says, what impact will the SEC's dismal bowl performances have on the 2015 preseason rankings?
Right.
Will there be a new and lingering skepticism of SEC teams as we move through the season, Dan?
Yeah. I don't think it'll vary from what we've seen, but it'll vary from what we could have seen if the SEC West acquitted itself in a better way. I think we could have seen a situation where we had 3, 4, 5 teams in the top 10. Not that we won't, but maybe there won't be 6 teams in the top 10 or 5 teams in the top 10. It'll be more measured. I think, especially after some of the performances of, say, Oklahoma this season and the way they finished out the year. Granted, the injuries weren't great, but I think people are going to not react as strongly for or against bowl results. So I think they'll still get a good amount of respect in an ultimately meaningless poll.
I don't think it has much effect at all.
No, I don't. Yeah, I think
to be perfectly honest with you, I mean, bowl season as we know it, is an exhibition season.
Yep.
These games don't ultimately mean that much. The one that people will probably hang their hats on most is the Alabama-Ohio State game.
Yeah.
But ultimately, this is still a conference that placed a lot of bowl teams. Granted, the SEC West didn't do all that well, but they still have to play each other.
Many non-conference games.
Right. They still have to play each other.
Correct.
They still beat each other up year in, year out. There's no doubt that the conference as a whole is still very, very strong.
Yeah.
Probably still at the top of the heap. So, no, if there's skepticism, it's probably from people who aren't in SEC land.
Right.
And if you're an SEC fan, I don't think you look at this any differently. You're probably already looking forward to National Signing Day.
Right.
You're probably already looking forward to who can win the national championship in 2015.
True. I would also add, just be wary in general of September absolutes.
Oh, right.
This is not meant to pick on QB Aggies, aka Kenny Trill, aka Kenny Hill, but he was somebody after the first week we got very excited about and his potential in that offense. But you got to let 14, 15 weeks play out, and that was something that I think a lot of people jumped to in September with the SEC, like automatically. Texas A&M is great.
And now he's transferring.
South Carolina. Now he's transferring. Texas A&M is great. Auburn is great. Alabama is great. LSU is great. Now, these are all flawed teams that are extraordinarily talented with huge wins, but let's not – the September coronations are sort of absurd.
You thought Oregon was going to go 8-4.
This is true.
I thought Notre Dame had potential to go 11-1, 10-2.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Ty, you're embarrassing
I've
the
been
show.
dying all week here.
Jesus. We're going to get to a question about that, too.
Yes, please. But in all fairness, I think there was potential in Oregon to go 8-4. There was potential in Notre Dame to go 11-1, 10-2.
Sure.
Clearly, things could have gone a little bit differently. We might have been right, but September absolute's never good practice to get into.
This is true. Next question.
Matt. He says, if you're Braxton Miller, what do you do next year? You stay at Ohio State? Do you transfer? You go pro? Or something else? So here's a question. I'll build on this one.
I have a very solid answer, I feel like, to this. Continue.
So let me build on Matt's question a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You're Braxton Miller.
Yeah.
You were a Heisman Trophy candidate before you got hurt.
2-time Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year.
What impetus is there for you to transfer? Don't you assume coming back that I'm Braxton Miller, sort of like the I'm Keith Hernandez moment in Seinfeld?
Well,
do you sort of assume by default that you're now the starting quarterback? You were the starting quarterback, or because it feels like an odd situation to me.
Was Ohio State led to heights unforeseen under Braxton Miller this season?
No.
Yes. Braxton Miller never led them to a national championship.
Well,
game.
Okay.
That's a height that was unforeseen.
Okay, fair enough. But my point is, if you're Braxton Miller, it feels like it'd be a really weird situation to all of a sudden now come back into the fold and sort of fear for your job when you were such a good quarterback.
What's his job?
Well, this year it was recovery.
No. What's his job in 2015?
I don't know.
I'm not assuming it's quarterback. I think there are personal reasons too. I think he has a child in Columbus.
Okay.
So to uproot there, I feel like he's probably realistic at this point that his game and strengths probably won't translate to the next level if he's going to play in the NFL. Probably won't be a quarterback, especially with the shoulder injuries that he's had.
Quits?
No, I think he comes in as a specialty slot receiver, slot back type.
Really?
I think that's the best thing for him. He's an Ohio guy. What is he really chasing? This is what I talked about with Matt Brown and Luke Zimmerman on their podcast. And I asked them on their own show because they're obviously much more dialed in, and they felt because of his connection to the state. I mean, what are you chasing? A Heisman? He's already been a Heisman finalist. So yes, it would be an ideal situation if he were fully healthy. You're dealing with somebody who still will, even when healthy, will have a bum shoulder. Is that what Oregon wants? He's been sort of regular. I don't think Florida
State's
not
a spread team, right?
But I would say the best option if he has designs of being an NFL contributor at this point, with how talented he is with the ball in his hands in the open field, and his shoulder history and just injury history in general, I would say taking advantage of his athleticism, maybe in showcase himself as Hines Ward, Antoine Randall, somebody who has played quarterback with more to offer athletically than perhaps as a signal caller.
But those guys were all showcasing their athleticism a lot more than Braxton Miller ever has in his tenure at Ohio State.
He runs all over the place.
He runs all over the place, but they're not splitting him out wide like they were doing with Hines Ward.
Sure.
They're not, using him in Antoine Randall L style like
But I would say he certainly has the athletic ceiling to do so.
I mean, he does, and now he's an injury risk too. On top of it all. You're right.
Playing quarterback at Ohio State is an injury risk.
Here's where you're right, though.
Yeah.
He's not an NFL quarterback.
No.
He's not an NFL quarterback. So the question is, what does he want to achieve?
Right.
And only he knows that. But I think if you still want to play quarterback, I think it's probably really hard.
Right.
To, at this point in your career, do an about face and say, I want to play wide receiver. That to me feels like a tough nut to crack.
I feel like it would be a relatively smooth transition.
Okay.
The number of years in that offense, I feel like the familiarity is there.
I think he wants to play quarterback.
All right.
Where that is remains to be seen.
Okay. Next question.
Brian says, zombie apocalypse. Where do you stand on zombies?
They don't fascinate me. I don't watch The Walking Dead. I'm not a big zombie fan.
Zombies, vampire.
I may be the only one that doesn't watch it, but Yeah.
All right. Who's the first to get infected between you guys and your guest?
I think it's Ty.
Right now, I mean, I'm the most likely to be infected by anything.
Yeah, Ty's immune system is.
I mean, I've been struggling for the last 6 weeks here.
Ty's immune system's ready to transfer, if anything.
My voice has already transferred.
Yeah.
So clearly, the answer is probably me.
Yeah, I would say Ty would probably succumb to some sort of zombie virus.
Yeah.
Before
We've been. This is like my 8th cup of tea today.
It's not doing it for you.
No.
Next question.
Aaron. What kind of a question is this?
Does Ty know what an artichoke is?
Yes, I know what an artichoke is.
No, you have a history of.
I love artichokes.
Are you an artichoke fan?
Love artichokes.
Asparagus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Artichokes. I've never really. What do you do with your artichoke?
I like a good stuffed artichoke.
Okay. Some people like dipping in ranch.
No.
You like the stuff, the baked artichoke.
I like the baked variety. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't go out of my way for them. What do you like? Sort of drag your teeth along the leaf and
drag
get the
your
meat
teeth
that way.
Yeah. Sometimes you can dip in some butter.
Okay. Good artichoke talk.
Sanders.
Yeah.
Is this Sanders Martini?
Of course it is. Of
course. Is that a real name?
Sanders is.
That can't be a real name.
The Mount Verb. I think it's a real name. You underestimate awesome nameage.
You could put whatever name you want on Facebook.
True. Although, somebody had. I think the Howard Stern show had Sanders the chicken. So.
Okay.
Not unlike that. Okay. What is his question?
What is y'all's?
That's not how you
still a
pronounce that.
two-syllable word.
Y'all's.
What is y'all's favorite play this season? And
yeah, it was a great question.
Power ranking of the best smoked meats. So we actually had a
and
ton
keep
of
in mind,
debate.
it's a power ranking, not a regular ranking here.
Power ranking,
Yeah.
right? So we had a fair amount of debate over our favorite plays of the season. I don't know if we can rank one over the rest, but
what is your small grouping?
A couple that came to mind. That the ending of the Bahamas Bowl,
of course,
with Central Michigan, Western Kentucky,
Yep.
triple lateral.
Mm-hmm.
I always are going to have a soft spot in my heart for Dr. Bo Wallace throwing the interception in his own end zone.
Yeah, again against TCU and
the 0-yard interception return
in the Peach Bowl. Is that what that was?
Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. That was a good one.
Yeah.
And there was also a play, and I cannot remember who did it, but it was sort of like an option pitch play where a defensive lineman stormed in, caught the option, and ran it back for a touchdown. Kind of like if you play NCAA.
Those are fun.
You know, everyone's done that in NCAA at some point.
So I have 5 Everett Golson plays from the Arizona State game.
They were the only 5 plays
that are tied. I mean, they were technically Arizona State plays.
Right.
No, I would agree with you. I love the Amir Abdul against McNeese. It was McNeese State, obviously, but still.
Saved them.
That was an unbelievable run.
Saved them in
He
that
was
game.
Fun all season long. Who else did I really like watching? What plays did I really like this
By the way,
year?
can you imagine what would have gone down in Nebraska had the Cornhuskers lost to McNeese State?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they already fired their coach. How much sooner
wonderful.
would it have happened had they lost that game?
Jalen Walton, the Ole Miss running back, and his run in the Egg Bowl, the 95-yard run, was pretty outstanding.
You like some of the Hail Marys?
Well, especially that run. Oh, yeah, the Pac-12 Hail Marys. The Jail Mary was great because Hayes Pillard jumped this high off the ground.
Right.
It was nice to see an Ole Miss run, a successful run. There wasn't, so that's sort of like I treasure that in my heart.
And next year, all the running backs have transferred.
Yeah. Let's see. Outside of that, I would say the play that will have the lasting impact on me this season, the Jameis Winston fumble in the Rose Bowl.
It's tough to beat that one.
Scoop and score for about 60 yards, whatever it was. Tony Washington getting the redemption from the penalty from the Arizona game in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
That one, it gets me tight.
I mean, if we've said it once, we said it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
If you were rooting against Florida State, that was exactly the way you wanted to see him.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah, that was the exact way you wanted the villain to be slain.
That was fun for me. Next one.
He says, well, very quickly.
Oh, smoked meats.
Okay. Lightning round. Boom, boom, boom.
Brisket. Turkey. Good smoked turkey. I like a lot.
Yeah.
Brisket, turkey, salmon, maybe. I like lox. Smoked salmon.
Can you barbecue salmon?
Sure, absolutely. Maybe
Really?
some cedar plank. Absolutely, you
Wow.
can. Any other smoked meats that particularly stand out? Smoked sausage.
Sausage.
Yeah.
Okay. Brian says over under 1.5 Cardale Jones touchdown passes. And what's everyone's superhero? 1.5.
Favorite
So,
superhero.
favorite superhero.
I don't have a personal superhero.
All right. Cardale Jones, 1.5.
Yeah.
I feel like that's an appropriate line in Vegas, not just on our show. 1.5 feels high to me.
Only one touchdown pass.
1.5 feels high to me on first glance.
Okay.
However, when you consider that these are two teams with high-powered offenses, they're probably both going to score a lot of points. I'd be inclined to go over here?
I'm going to take the under. And I think he'll have a pretty good game against Oregon. I just don't think he's going to be able to connect on as many passes. I think Oregon's going to play 2 high safeties for much of this game and is going to sort of bait him into making mistakes and force him to go with longer drives.
Yeah, and by the way, everyone's talking about the vertical passing game of Ohio State.
Right.
But, let's see what he can do in the intermediate passing
Absolutely.
game. Because Oregon's going to try and force that hand.
Timing routes, slants, that kind of stuff.
They're going to
Absolutely.
try and force those, under 20-yard routes, and then we'll see what he's made of. Because you got to be accurate. You can have an absolute howitzer for an arm, but if you don't have accuracy in the intermediate routes, that's going to be a problem.
Favorite superhero?
Batman.
Yeah, I enjoy Batman. I think I like Professor X. Will we consider him a superhero?
Sure.
I mean, he was more mind stuff.
That counts.
But he got to sit down. And I respect that. And he sort of lorded over other superheroes as well.
Okay.
So I enjoy Professor X.
The mind thing did creep me out. A
Yeah.
little bit, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. No, I like that. Okay. Next question.
Justin, this one's for you, Dan.
Oh.
Should Ducks wide receiver Addison...
We really sound NPR. I don't know why we're doing it. Talking like this. Let's... Anyway.
Should Ducks wide receiver Addison
good question.
play with Kerrigan out?
Oh, Carrington.
Carrington. What
Not
I say?
Kerrigan.
Carrington?
Kerrigan.
Yeah.
No.
Carrington.
I would say no, just because they've been so good and they've gotten particularly deep at receiver and the sort of combination players like Charles Nelson and Byron Marshall, where I feel like it is still going to be, what is it, about 72 hours, maybe 96 hours of time knowing before the game to adjust any sort of game plan. And I don't even know if they're going to adjust the game plan all that much. They've been so good at adjusting and just sort of every receiver plays, I think, a lot of the roles in practice, and they get the reps everywhere. So Derek Carrington has not started a game for Oregon. No. So as good as he's been, he has just been somebody that has happened to step up. And he's not counted on game plan wise, I don't think, as much as people think. As for Braylon Addison, yes, on a stage like this, you want your best possible team, your most talented possible team. I would understand it if he does play competitor. They want to get, game-changing players for this kind of opportunity. But you want him to be as healthy as he possibly can for when he comes back. And it'd be kind of disastrous for him to retweak the knee in the same way that Tyler Johnstone did. They're starting left tackle at the beginning of camp after he tore it in the Alamo Bowl against Texas. So I'm going to say no, but I get it.
I get it. And by the way, Carrington, you mentioned that, maybe not the number one guy.
Right.
However, has really come on since the Pac-12 championship game.
Absolutely. He has.
Or since the last
He
last
had
week of the
great
year.
performances throughout the year. And against Florida State, obviously, with Devin Allen out, he was, I don't think tasked with doing more, but certainly made huge plays against a top team.
Okay. 3 more here. Nathan, for which school would a loss in the title game be more disappointing? The obvious answer has to be Oregon.
I think so.
Because Oregon's playing, obviously they're the favorite at last check, a 5-point favorite now with the Carrington.
It came down. Okay.
With the Carrington news, the line was tweaked a little bit, but as a favorite, to lose against a third-string quarterback, that would be a disappointment, especially after so many years of kind of knocking on the door. Yeah, this would be a big disappointment for Oregon if they went down.
I would say Oregon, not just because of the items that you laid out there, but because I think Ohio State for the future, because of how well they've recruited, what their own conference looks like in terms of it's very top heavy at the moment. Not even very top heavy. They are the top, and they are the heaviness there. Whereas Oregon has a deeper conference to navigate, and just as a program, I don't think Oregon will receive as many benefits of the doubt, perhaps as Ohio State in a situation with the playoff where all sorts of things are weighed, be it fair or unfairly. I think Ohio State is in a better position to be here more often moving forward.
I could see that.
As well as Oregon has recruited and as deep as they've gotten, I think they are closer to the edge of, we don't know what we have with Oregon's quarterbacks moving forward, but for the short term, we know what we're getting from Ohio State's quarterback position.
Ohio State's in a better position until Jim Harbaugh ramps up the Harbaugh machine.
Sure. But even then, how many teams are serious threats to Ohio State?
Not many.
It's Michigan. We'll see about Wisconsin with Paul Chryst. Penn State. We'll see when they get more scholarships. So I don't think there are a number of teams in the Big Ten that consistently threaten Ohio State's position at the top.
All right. By the way, we should mention something very, very quickly.
What is that?
If you look right in between us, University of Oregon Student Radio.
The birthplace of my broadcasting career.
Morningwood. That's where it all started.
541-346-0645.
There you go. All right, last 2 questions.
Yeah.
Jeff Driscoll. Ooh. It's a dirty word if you're a Florida fan.
Oh, we're not. Are we allowed to say that out loud?
Jeff Driscoll. How much will Duke fans hate him?
Is he for sure going to Duke? Jeff Driscoll? Is Jeff Driscoll transferring to Duke? It's not set yet. That's a rumor.
All right, let me modify the question then.
Oh, he's going to La Tech? He's officially going to La Tech. So
let me modify the question.
So Duke fans are probably cool with him.
I was just going to say this.
Yeah.
Jeff Driscoll, how much will the fans of his eventual team hate him?
I'm not fully comfortable with saying, if you're a bad quarterback for a bad offense, that you can't be a good quarterback for a good offense.
Yeah, I mean, he could go to a pass-heavy offense and have some sort of renaissance.
That might not be the best if he is a bad quarterback.
If he is, but at least he'll have a chance to throw the ball.
Sure.
In what has to be a more competent offense than what we saw in Gainesville.
We've seen quarterbacks improve in better situations.
All right, and then finally, let's go to our boy Dak. Still writing questions, and this guy's
Dakota. But, if Dak Prescott can turn Dakota into Dak, why can't every Dakota?
He says, in this age of redshirt freshman quarterbacks, Manziel and Mariota in 2012, Winston in 2013, and JT Barrett in 2014, which redshirt freshman / second-year player is your early prediction to burst onto the national scene next year? Now, he does not specify which redshirt quarterback.
Right, but he's saying in the age of redshirt freshman.
So, all right, if we're not talking quarterbacks, the obvious answer
I'm going to talk quarterbacks.
The obvious answer to me would be Jabril Peppers.
Sure.
From Michigan.
Defense has not been the issue in Ann Arbor.
Not at all. If we're talking about quarterbacks, then you've got a whole host of other guys.
Yeah, you've got Keller Christ at Stanford. We'll see what happens with Kevin Hogan. There's obviously going to be some sort of open quarterback competition in Alabama.
David Cornwell?
Yeah, from Oklahoma.
Sure.
And then at Oregon, Morgan Mahalik, if he is any good, he was a relatively highly touted quarterback from Northern California, could step in and certainly appears to possess the physical skills to succeed on a certain level. At Texas, Gerard Hurd, depending on how well he develops. And what did Stephen Godfrey say? No, isn't it Gerard Hurd at Texas? Oh, I'm sorry. How dare you, sir? You miscorrected. We're
going to have to call security here, Dan.
Yeah.
Get this taken care of.
Jalen Hurd, not a redshirt freshman next year either. Wow. Stephen Godfrey. Why does he have a credential? Why?
He has a sport coat.
No, we mentioned a couple. I said Keller Christ at Stanford, said Cornwell. Cosentino, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, at Florida State.
Very Greek name.
Yeah, from Pennsylvania, from Pittsburgh, I believe.
Right.
So, yeah, all over the country, a number of top kids. Will Greer at Florida, could be a fresh start for Florida with their new coaching staff, Doug Nussmeier, and I'm totally blanking on their head coach's name because he hasn't won a game
Jim
in Florida
McElwain.
yet. Yes, of course.
So here's the question. We'll close out on this. He mentions about red shirts. We've obviously seen it over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Some of these younger guys have come in and made a huge impact.
Yeah.
Especially at the quarterback position. Do you think we're just in an era where we've gotten lucky? Or do you think it's because these kids are so advanced by the time they get to college that they really hit the ground running?
I think it's a combination of fact that they are more advanced, obviously, with more 7-on-7, with more time, with private coaching.
Right.
They do come in as a more polished product because, getting private coaching between the ages of like 13 and 17, those are like prime learning years. So your brain's still forming. You can sort of come in a more polished way.
We've turned into a health and human development podcast, right?
And I also think offenses, especially as we go more to hurry up, more to spread stuff, I think they're a little bit simpler, and you can start simpler and gradually get more complicated. So I think in situations, obviously Johnny Manziel is a unique situation because he was much more in the improvisation mold. But in terms of Jameis Winston, that's not an easy offense, and I thought he was quite advanced in terms of his ability to learn and implement and execute. And who was the other redshirt freshman we're talking about? We said Manziel and Jameis. Mariota. Yes, immediately good. Yeah, I think that's a case of you are asked to do X things as a redshirt freshman and then X plus 10 as a sophomore. I think the systems are being more and more crafted to easy, quick learning.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt that we've had some exceptional talents come through.
Yes.
Say what you want about Manziel in the NFL, but Manziel was dynamite in college.
Yeah. No, I think next year we're definitely going to see at least 1, 2, 3
Somebody
quarterbacks
will emerge
that come in and because they're unknown quantities have immediate success in big spots. I think that's the way we're heading.
All right. Great questions.
Yes.
Your thoughts.
Can I ask you a hypothetical question?
Oh, yeah,
Although we
please.
talked about it last night.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to present this, and anybody can answer.
Yeah.
On Twitter and Facebook, whatever. We talked about this at dinner last night. So I asked you your celebrity crush. You said Mila Kunis.
Yeah.
So my question to you and to anybody else, hypothetically, you think about your celebrity crush.
Yeah.
How many pounds would you be willing to gain?
No. Do I have to? I don't want to answer this one publicly.
Yeah, willing to gain to spend, however you choose, a polite adult evening with said celebrity crush. It goes both way, women and male celebrity crushes, women and women's celebrity crushes, male and men's, whatever the case is.
Whatever floats your boat.
How many pounds would you be willing to wake up heavier? You basically inflate overnight as you fall asleep.
It's a hot topic.
In return for that. And you said you would put up, 150 pounds?
At least, yeah.
150 pounds, you're out of your mind. And I also said that you could not do like the surgery, the lap band.
No.
Take it off. You can only lose it by natural means. 150 for
I mean, that gives me something to work towards over the next year.
Let's say you pick her up early at like 6, 7 p.m.
We're not going to discuss
You go to sleep 1, 2 a.m., whatever.
We're not going to discuss the evening.
I'm not talking about the activities, but I'm just saying that's the amount of time you spend.
Yeah.
150 pounds.
Yeah.
So it's like 20 pounds an hour.
Yeah. As long as it's not happening during the actual.
No, it happens once you lose consciousness.
Sort of like a Cinderella situation where,
right.
The clock strikes midnight or 2 a.m.
I was in like the 50, 60 for Allison Brie.
Okay. No, I go 150.
Maybe 90.
Something to work towards over the next year.
Oh man.
What a dedicated guy.
How would that distribute itself on your body? Where do you pack it on?
Probably go right to the gut.
Right to the gut?
I would think so.
All right. Mine would be tired.
Maybe in like this region here.
Oh yeah, me too.
I mean, I think that's like the second region for most guys. Like
sure.
In the face.
Absolutely.
It's
a good question. So if there's any takeaway to this, it's
yes, we would love input.
Ty thinks Braxton
feedback.
Miller is going to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
Somewhere next season, Ohio State or elsewhere. I think he'll switch positions and stay in Ohio State. And Ty's willing to gain 150 pounds for Mila Kunis in a very dramatically short period of time.
This is great because the Solid Fiance is watching this back in the
I hope so.
comfy confines of Eastern Pennsylvania.
We're talking about a parallel universe here.
Right.
And we want people to write in with how many pounds and for whom.
Solidverbal@gmail.com is the email address. You can also find us on Facebook, Fan Credit, Twitter. You already knew that.
Yeah.
We're going to be here the next couple days. Do check our website, solidverbal.com. That's where we'll post all of our podcasts. We churned a few more out today. We're going to churn a few more out tomorrow and on Monday as well. So keep downloading, keep commenting, keep letting us know what it is you're interested in hearing more of. And we'll be here from Radio Row. You can see it's bustling behind us.
Oh, my God. It is booming and bouncing. Thank you. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
All right. My hand is going to come in now, and I'm going to turn off the show right there.